Hi, I'm Alan Wilburn, and this is my class project for CSE335 Mobile App Development. So to begin with the project idea, I wanted to utilize past homeworks and labs to add more functionality to the location storage app. These concepts include things such as core data storage, map calls, the map view, so geocoding, web view, and also API calls. Anyone can keep a running list of their favorite vacation spots while also having valuable information about that location. So anyone on the fly can keep a list of places that they've been to, and from there they're able to see either a map of the area, or they're able to see a Wikipedia page. So if they wanted to, they could do more research or brag to their friends about somewhere where they went. So the UI for this was relatively simple. I only had two views. In the first view, we have a table view, several buttons, an image view, and a text field. So the add reload and add image button will of course take in the information put in by the user. So this would be the location name, the location description, and the image that they chose from their camera roll, and then put that into a cell and store that cell into a table view, and this is now stored in core data. So from there, someone can click on any one of these cells, and this will segue into the detail view controller. So for example, location 1, at the top you can see location 1's name, the picture that you chose, and location 1's description. On the detail view controller at the bottom, you can click one of the two buttons, which the first button will take in a string, take in the location name, and geocode that to get coordinates, to be able to take these coordinates and display them onto the map. And the second button will also take the string, plug this into GeoName's Wikipedia search API, which will output a URL, and this URL is then plugged into the web view. Moving on to the UML class diagram. Again, similar to the UI the UI walkthrough, the UML class diagram is relatively simple. The UI view controller maintains a location entity. This location entity has three attributes, and that is the location name, location description, and the location picture. I feel as though maybe I should have added a few more entities, something to store the coordinates and something to store the URL, so that these processes can be ran faster and you don't have to manually call it every single time. But yeah, that's a different story. So looking to the right, we have our main menu view controller class, and at the top you can see its variables, and at the bottom all of its functions. Of course, the main view controller will have all the arbitrary stuff, so I'll just go over anything that I added that adds increased functionality. So the add location will of course take in two strings, the name and description, and then it will also take in binary data, which is the image that you choose from your camera roll. Below that you can see a load table function, which will just reload the table to update it with any new cells. Below that is a get image function, which will allow you to which calls the image picker controller, and this of course allows you to pick an image, store it, and so on. And then finally below that is the table view deletion, which takes in the table view, the editing style, and the cell itself, and this allows you to swipe left on any of the cells to delete the cell from the table while also deleting that information from core data. Below that is the detail view controller, and again, this class, you can see its variables. It's got a name, description, image, a map, a web, and a summary. And the two main functions added to this were the location and the wiki. And so the get location function will just take in our string, the location name, and then geocode that to be able to output the latitude and longitude. And then from there, it will take those coordinates, plug it into a map view, and display the map. The get wiki will again take in the location name string, run that through GeoNames' Wikipedia search API, which will then display or output a URL, a summary, an image, just information from that particular string's Wikipedia page. So moving on to the model view controller architecture. So at the bottom left is our view, and the view is able to display a table of locations, display a map of the location, display the web view linking to the location's wiki, and then update the table view calls with data. Once it moves into the controller, it updates the table view with new locations, displays the request info, which in this case is the map and web info, and so on. The controller will call a location info API. It'll fetch this location's data, handle user interaction, and update the views with new data. Moving from the controller into the view, one can tap the buttons to view or delete cells. So moving from the controller into the model, this notifies the model that location info is changed, that there's map location to have been calculated, that there is an API call which fetches new location info. And the model will then store that information, the name, description, picture, and again, in hindsight, there should have been the coordinates and the URL stored as well. But it'll store those three entities, or those three attributes, into core data, and then notify the controller of data changes once a new location is saved. So as for capabilities and limitations, again, as I've said numerous times in the past, this app is able to store several attributes of the location entity into core data. You can also make API calls to receive further information, unfortunately, the API call to the Wikipedia search API only returns the first object to be displayed, but I did this because I felt as though the Wikipedia search API was accurate enough to be able to pretty much always display like the correct location that the user wants. It should be the first, because in most cases the first entry of the Wikipedia search API is the most popular term that gets searched. You're not able to edit your info. I was constrained by time heavily, and so I wasn't able to implement this function, but you can delete the cell and start over if you wanted to. So as for lessons learned, I learned that you should always start your class projects at least 2 weeks in advance. I had to bite the bullet and significantly reduce the quality of my app because of the fact that I had started so late. And that relates to the second bullet point, where overly ambitious app ideas, when presented with a small scope of time, should be cut back just a little bit, just because, you know, there's something that needs to be delivered on time, and of course extra functionality can be added later on into the future, but at the time of submission, you know, a once ambitious app definitely had to be stripped back significantly. And then finally, sometimes, you know, it really is okay to just ask another person for either a second opinion or just a helping hand. You know, a TA, a professor, another student. It's always okay to ask for help, because no one is ever alone in this. And finally, improvements to the class slash project. So I thoroughly enjoyed this class. I had a blast learning how to build apps. I enjoyed my time in the labs, you know, building apps. I thought that the lectures were fun and engaging, but I did feel as though there could have been more resources uploaded to Blackboard. And finally, I would have liked to see some more work pulled from from the textbooks recommended to us. I'm kind of a person that enjoys learning from textbooks, so this isn't really like a major gripe about the class. This is just a gripe about the fact that I feel like the textbooks just weren't really utilized or referred to as much. That's it for the location storage app. Thank you very much, and have a great day.